They had it figured out decades before the rest of the industry caught up. These are 10 car features that were genuinely ahead of their time. Number 10, a purpose-built mass-market electric car with regenerative braking. EV1, mid-1990s. General Motors built a real electric car in 1996. It was not a converted golf cart. It was not an experiment with a gas engine backup. It was a purpose-designed electric vehicle with aerodynamics optimized for range, a lightweight body, and regenerative braking that recaptured energy on deceleration. Later battery versions achieved around 240 kilometers of range. That number still holds up today. General Motors leased the EV1, never sold it, and then quietly recalled and crushed almost every one of them when the program ended. The engineers who built it had demonstrated everything the industry would spend the following 25 years pretending to discover. The public was not ready to understand it. General Motors made sure it never got the chance. Number 9. Infrared night vision for civilian cars. Early luxury sedans in the late 1990s and the early 2000s. Before parking sensors were common, and before backup cameras were mandatory, a handful of high-end sedans were already scanning the road ahead with infrared cameras that could detect warm objects, pedestrians, animals, and cyclists at ranges several times beyond what headlights could illuminate. The systems worked in light fog and in darkness that would leave a normal driver effectively blind. The technology was expensive, and the market for it was narrow, so it remained a luxury curiosity for years. Every modern driver assistance suite that detects pedestrians, anticipates obstacles, or sees around corners in the dark is built on the same basic principle. The public was not ready to pay for it. The physics did not care. Number 8. Cruise control. Chrysler, 1958. The idea that a car could maintain its own highway speed without the driver touching the accelerator sounded less like engineering and more like science fiction. Chrysler offered it anyway under the name Autopilot, using a simple speed governor that held whatever velocity the driver selected. The reaction was somewhere between curiosity and indifference, because most people had no reference point for what they were being offered. Today, maintaining speed with cruise control is so basic that the entry-level version is almost invisible. Adaptive cruise, lane keeping, and early driver assistance systems are the direct descendants of what Chrysler was experimenting with before most of those drivers had finished high school. Number 7. Mechanical four-wheel steering. Honda Prelude, late 1980s. The Honda Prelude solved a problem that most buyers did not know they had. At low speeds, the rear wheels turned opposite the fronts to shrink the turning circle. At higher speeds, the rear wheels turned with the fronts to stabilize lane changes and fast corners. It was a purely mechanical system with no computer required, and it worked exactly as advertised. Journalists felt the difference immediately. Mainstream buyers largely shrugged because they could not see it from the outside. Porsche, BMW, and Mercedes have since rediscovered the same concept with electronic rear steer systems, and now market it as a premium performance upgrade. The Prelude did it first with gears and linkages. Number 6. All-wheel drive in a performance road car. Audi Quattro, 1980. In 1980, all-wheel drive belonged on military trucks and agricultural equipment, not on a sports coupe. Audi disagreed. The Quattro brought a full-time, all-wheel drive system to a road car, and then proved its point by demolishing the competition in world rally racing. On wet roads, gravel, ice, and steep elevation changes, the Quattro handled it all with a composure that rear-wheel drive performance cars simply could not match. The industry watched, hesitated, and then spent the next 2 decades making all-wheel drive standard equipment across luxury and performance segments. What Audi did in 1980 is now table stakes. We are halfway through this countdown, and every single one of these features is now considered standard or obvious. The top 5 are even harder to believe were ever rejected. Number 5. Aerodynamic body design with hidden headlights. Cord 810 and 812, 1936 and 1937. The average American car in 1936 was upright, boxy, and aerodynamically indifferent. The Cord 810 looked like it had arrived from a decade that had not happened yet. It had a low roofline, smooth integrated fenders, and a nose with no visible headlights because they retracted flush into the bodywork. The whole shape was designed around airflow before most manufacturers even considered drag a meaningful variable. The Cord's production run was short, its influence was not. The integrated aerodynamics first approach it demonstrated became the foundational logic of modern car design. Number 4. Unibody construction and independent suspension. Lancia Lambda, 1922. In 1922, cars were still built on heavy, separate frames, the way horse carriages had been built for centuries. The Lancia Lambda threw that out entirely. It used a load-bearing unibody shell that was stiffer, lighter, and structurally more coherent than anything else on the road. It also paired that body with independent front suspension, while practically every competitor was still using a solid axle that transmitted every road imperfection directly to the driver's spine. The Lambda was introduced over 100 years ago. Modern cars are still built on these exact same principles. Number 3. Front wheel drive in an American muscle car. The Oldsmobile Toronado, 1966. America in 1966 believed big cars needed rear-wheel drive. That was simply how it was done. The Toronado did not agree. It put front-wheel drive into a full-size performance coupe, improved interior space, distributed weight more effectively, and delivered real traction benefits in conditions where rear-wheel drive barges simply fell apart. It also included a tilt and telescoping steering column and a drum-style speedometer, features that made the cockpit feel genuinely modern. Buyers liked the style more than they understood the engineering. Front-wheel drive eventually took over the entire mainstream market and did not look back. Number 2. Direct fuel injection, Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, 1954. Carburetors were the industry standard then, and they were blunt instruments. They estimated the fuel mix and hoped for the best. The 300 SL scrapped that entirely. It used mechanical direct injection to push fuel straight into the combustion chamber with precision, squeezing more power and better efficiency from the same displacement. The result was a top speed that made it one of the fastest road cars on Earth. Critics called the system exotic and overcomplicated. Decades later, engineers returned to direct injection, not as a performance trick, but as the solution to modern emissions and efficiency requirements. Today it is in nearly every new engine built anywhere in the world. Number 1. Hydropneumatic suspension. Citroën DS 1955. Most cars in 1955 were bouncing on leaf springs, like covered wagons with better paint. The Citroën DS rode on pressurized nitrogen spheres and hydraulic fluid that actively negotiated the road beneath it. The car could raise itself to clear obstacles, self-level under a heavy load, and deliver a ride so smooth that journalists ran out of words and started calling it sorcery. The system worked almost too well. Specialized knowledge, higher costs, and repair shops that simply could not touch it kept it from spreading. But the concept never died. Every luxury SUV with adaptive air suspension, every modern performance car that adjusts its own ride height at speed, traces that idea back to a French car from the Eisenhower era.